Hello, Internet friends, and welcome back to the Daily Blend Show with me, Reed Dailey. If you are new around here, this is the weekly rundown where I feature things that I thought were notable or interesting across the spectrum of news, everything from business to media and tech, as well as what's going on across the Daily Blend channels and projects that I am involved with. If you are not subscribed to the show, I highly recommend you doing that. You can find it on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and on YouTube. You can also like, follow, subscribe to Daily Blend on X and Instagram and even on Threads, although we haven't really done a pickup or sort of like posting regularly on Threads, if I'm just being honest. But maybe we'll change that. Let me know in the comments. But with all that out of the way, let's jump into the show. So I was on the road for the last couple weeks, and if you noticed, there's been a little bit of a decline in the velocity of posts, and that's largely because I didn't have enough room in the suitcase to bring all of the recording gear to record and produce this show. But fear not, I am back in Chicago for the next couple weeks, so you should see a steady flow of shows coming out. And, let's talk about some of the great places that I went. So I had the opportunity to go to Boston, Vermont, and Atlanta. And, normally I would highlight a few places and things that I went to in Boston, but quite frankly, it was actually a couple of the same hits, and so it didn't really feel like needed to talk about it. But I had the opportunity to go up into Vermont, which I haven't been to in probably 10 years, and I got to go check out one of the coolest restaurant, manufacturing, and retail locations that I've ever seen, which is the HQ of Simon Pierce. If you're less familiar with Simon Pierce, they are inspired by centuries-old Georgian glassmaking techniques, and they use only the finest natural materials. And Simon, the founder, set out to create kind of designs that bring pleasure and inspire everyone with everything they do. Really broad terms there from a description standpoint, but let me kind of give you the hits. They've got these fantastic glass trees that I think, just based on the number of SKUs and product allotment, I'm guessing is their best seller. They also have great drinkware, from highballs and cocktail glasses to wine glasses and vases, as well as other sort of glass apparatuses for storing objects in or placing objects on. Like I said, everything is handmade there, and it's just fantastic. And to boot, they've got the sort of manufacturing facility in the basement, and they have the restaurant on the main floor. And I didn't get a chance to eat there. The trip was kind of cut short due to needing to get back to Boston, but I got the chance to sort of walk the grounds, and it is absolutely breathtaking. If you go to daileyblend.com, you can see sort of a snapshot from the view of the restaurant overlooking the river there, and sort of a waterfall dam, if you will, coming next to their property. So, we're getting close to holiday season. So if you're thinking about making a purchase for a loved one or gift, corporate gift, whatever, go check out simonpierce.com. You will not be disappointed. All right, moving from Vermont to the ATL, and if you have been a fan of this show, been listening, or you've met me, you know that I've spent roughly half of my life living in Atlanta in one shape, size. I've got a brother still down there, and I went down to visit him and his family, and was going down to watch the Messi game, or watch Atlanta play Miami to hopefully see Messi, and sure enough, Messi didn't even get on the plane, so that was a bit of a disappointment for my brother, although I was pretty happy just to see the new Mercedes-Benz stadium. It is truly a fantastic fan experience. If you have the opportunity to go there, I highly recommend you checking it out. It was pretty cool. I have to admit that both the Miami team and the next day for the NFL, the Green Bay team was staying in my hotel. So I actually rode up and down the elevator with players across a couple days, which was pretty fun. My kid thought that was pretty neat. But on the west side, where I used to, I wouldn't say live, but spend a bit of time, over at Billy Reed, Sid Mashburn, some of the Ford Fry restaurants. I had the chance to go check out the Porchetta Group's new restaurant, Bastine. I think I'm saying that correct, or Bastone. It's very much Italian, forward thinking, Italian wine, lots of small plates. I thought it was a lovely restaurant. There's indoor seating, outdoor seating, bar seating. The location in West Midtown is super easy to get to. It's right in the heart of West Midtown. My brother and I actually birded up there, so that made it really easy. What I love about sort of brands and restaurant owners is they have totally jumped on the digital train. So they've got their own Instagram, of course, but they also have their own podcast called Salt Your Pasta Water with Pat Piscarellia. And Pat, I guarantee I'm not saying your last name correctly, but I'm trying. Anyway, I listened to 1 or 2 episodes. It's pretty funny stuff. Highly recommend you both checking out Bastone, on the west side, a couple of their other restaurants, and check out the pod. Follow them on IG. All right, moving from kind of being on the road to talking about Drinks with Greg and Negronis with Greg. So Drinks with Greg is up and running. If you have not been there, go check it out. We now are offering the finest spirits known to man in our web store. It is shipped via a third party. We've got a contract with a fulfillment group. So you can purchase adult spirits, beverages, wines, what have you on our website, and they will arrive at your doorstep. It's a fantastic user experience, if I don't say so myself. One of the drinks of last week, or the drink of last week, was the Rosistal cocktail, which I'm pretty fired up to actually make. Sometimes I make them, sometimes I don't. In this case, Greg was really featuring this drink, and so I haven't made it, but it's on my list for this weekend. And then we did our first ever book feature. I thought it was only appropriate to do it on Jim Meehan. He is out in the West Coast, but I met him when he was bartending at PDT. I've got sort of an inroad through my brother, who I believe one of his best friends best friend's brother or sister married Jim. And I got a chance to meet him. I'll never forget trying, a vodka soda and having the different soda options, volume of soda as well as type of soda and kind of compression. And that's how specific these bartenders and mixologists are getting. I own this book. I've owned it, 3 or 4 or 5 years now. The imagery and kind of drawings in there are fantastic. I highly recommend checking out that book. If you do buy it, let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite drink is. I highly suspect Greg and I are going to be running through that book and doing some drinks. In terms of the Negronis with Greg podcast, we are still going strong. We're about to release episode number 7. That should be out Thursday or tomorrow if you're listening to this podcast. So head over to Spotify or Apple Podcast and check out Negronis with Greg there. And we hope you enjoy. And, let us know what you think of the site. It's, I think we're live for about 6 months now. And there's always ways to get better. So love the feedback. But check us out. In terms of going from kind of news to projects with others, I want to focus on kind of a personal pet project, which, I try to do a mix roughly every summer and then every sort of like New Year's kind of time frame that is not Dailey Blend. So it's not like 4 on the floor, tech house. I usually do a little more like laid back kind of vibes for my Reed Dailey music project. And I released Summer Nights Mix 2023. The track list is some artists that you'll know, some artists that I just kind of found through, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, etc. And it's totally a laid back, kind of chill out, kind of good day to night transition mix. Very, very down tempo, low key. Greg from Negronis with Greg and Drink with Greg, listened to it and he said it was one of my best mixes as of late. So I always, appreciate his feedback and trust his honesty. In terms of the project, I mentioned Reed Dailey Music. I've been kind of trying to put more and more content out through that channel that is very just music oriented. And so you can check that out at Instagram or Twitter or X, however you want to think about it, YouTube. And then, of course, over on reeddailey.com, where you can find kind of more content from me as an individual that's, different than what I do with Dailey Blend. The last thing I want to talk about is the Friday Top 5. So last Friday Top 5 was a couple weeks back. Like I said, I was on the road, and I featured stories about kind of adventures in Brooklyn and finding new music venues and bars. We did the feature on Andy Cooks. He's a YouTube chef and out of Australia and New Zealand. I can't ever remember. And he does a great job of creating content. And, I've always enjoyed it. And he came out with a cookbook. So I haven't purchased it yet, but really liked what I saw on Amazon. Likely going to make that purchase for some Thanksgiving and holiday season cooking action. Shirts from Soul Matty are just like the funniest things. I love all their play on records and music culture, and I'm definitely going to go pick up one of their shirts. I was hoping to find maybe like a hoodie to go get. I did a little feature on the latest and greatest Moon Swatch. This is the collaboration between Omega and Swatch for the Blue Moons that came out last month. A little bigger on the size, just fantastic pieces. I finally got to actually see one live at a conference. I saw some guy wearing it, and I harassed him. I said, hey, stop. I'm a watch guy. Let me go check this thing out if you don't mind. And he was totally into it. He actually told me he went to like 3 Swatch stores around the world and had purchased Moon swatches at all of them. So, that guy's a collector. And then finally, I saw some Jordan 5s that I was pretty excited about in terms of the olive ones, and just kind of showcasing some of the cool stuff coming out from Jordan brand. Pretty excited about that. But the biggest news I wanted to let people know is that we're going to take the Friday Top 5 off the podcast for a while, and you won't actually see it on the website. We're going to be transitioning it from sort of a content that is available on the website to email-only content. So if you love the Friday Top 5, make sure you head to daileyblend.com and sign up for the newsletter. You can also send an email to the contact or info at Dailey Blend. Those kind of filter into the same inbox. We're going to be sending the Friday Top 5 out via email. And, just kind of keep the podcast focused on sort of the weekly rundowns, as well as doing more and more sound off podcasts. We got a couple teed up. Really excited about those. A couple in the can already. So we'll be releasing those over the next weeks and months. But as always, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe to the show on all your favorite social channels. That's Instagram, Twitter, X, and Facebook. You can like, follow, subscribe, download however you like it on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And with that said, enjoy your week, and we'll catch you next week on the Weekly Rundown. Thanks for tuning in.